So welcome back, dear students, welcome back everybody. And those are some aspects regarding the Canadian culture. We will talk about some aspects regarding the Canadian culture. Things that's very important to know and to have a background about it. The first of all, the newcomers and refugees in Canada and the refugees. We have, do you know these facts? I just want to let you know these facts. 7.5 million foreign-born people have come to Canada through the immigration process, representing over 1 in 5 Canadians. So 20%, like the 20% of the Canadians, they were million foreign-born people. They have arrived from more than 200 different countries. So you have here a culture of 200 countries. Over 1.2 million newcomers arrived in Canada over the past 5 years. By the way, this is not 2022, when you will find this till April 2018, with many arriving from Philippines, 16%, India 12%, and China 11%. Look at this now. You can see here in front of you how far the population of the immigrants into Canada. From Philippines, 188.805. So Philippines comes the first number in the population of the immigration to Canada, followed by India, it's 147,190, followed by China, followed by Iran, followed by Pakistan, followed by the United States, followed by Syria, followed by the United Kingdom, then France, then South Korea. On your left-hand side here, or your right-hand side, most newcomers in Canada, in large urban centers, like 29%, they come into Toronto here. And you can see the slide of Toronto, because this is the sky blue. This part is 29%. So Toronto is the greatest city for receiving the immigrants. It's the land of the immigrants, like 29% of all the immigrants come to Toronto. This is a census from the 2011 to 2016. So it shows you that most of the immigrants come into Toronto. Montreal, 15%, like almost like half of the people who come to Toronto goes to Montreal. So Montreal, half the people who comes to Toronto. Vancouver, 12%, where they have access to good job opportunities and higher incomes, affordable housing and accessible services and healthcare. This is in general. So you see here, like as example, each province, and you will find for each province the percentage of the immigrants who come to it out of the total percentage of the total immigrants. So like you see here, Toronto in Ontario is the supreme in receiving new immigrants. That's why you see here the prices of the houses, and it's going so up. The living together approach, this is very important because we have like language, the problems in working now. When you come, just when you arrive, you will have some problems regarding finding an adequate job, problems regarding the language difficulties, problems regarding the Canadian experience, to find the Canadian experience at work. Also, you must have an access to healthcare. Regarding the racism and discrimination, newcomers often endure racism and discrimination within their host communities. They can also be victims to the hate crimes and racial profiling. Studies show that 1/5 of the newcomers to Canada face discrimination in various situations after they arrive. And this is very important. Though the law is prohibiting the discrimination, you will find always people discriminated. And there are people there just, I have experienced such a situation when I arrived to Canada. I'm talking about myself. I'm one of the 5 or the 20% who face this problem. According to 2013 General Society survey, nearly 36% of immigrants in Canada have been a victim of discrimination in the past 5 years. And I just will highlight this sentence also. So discrimination, though the laws or by law are against the discrimination act, discrimination behavior, but still there are people who are practicing discriminating against the newcomers and the immigrants. Compared to 28%, that means it's increasing also. So it was 36% in 2013, but it was before this, compared to around 28% of Canadian-born residents. So that means because I'm a newcomer, so the chance for a discrimination to be more with 8% almost than the Canadian-born. A March 2017 surveys conducted by the Canadian Institute of Identifiers and Immigration found that 78% of respondents often or occasionally hear negative comments about immigrants in Canada. Hear negative comments about immigrants in Canada. So this show, yes, there is still a type or a kind of discrimination hidden, but not by law, because the law is against any kind of discrimination in Canada here. All the laws and all the acts are against this kind of behavior, but still some people are practicing this. You see, sometimes it's very famous and very common, like you see here, and the percentage is very high still. Like you see, this percentages is very high for the discrimination sentences you hear here as an immigrant. Transportation can be a roadblock of recent immigrants. Public transit can affect where newcomers live and where, yes, that public transit is very important here in Canada because not everybody can afford a car. No, not everybody can drive. So most of the people, especially in big cities like Toronto, they depend on the TTC or the public transit for their own transportations. So here is another point. It's determinant factors on where the people will live. Some places, if you, as example, if you are downtown, you will be close to your work. It's a walking distance to your work. So it's very good for you because you will save a lot of money for the transportation. But if you are just a little bit far, like in the north, close to Markham or close to Steele, or these areas up in the north, it's very difficult because you will have to spend more money and time to come to downtown if your work is in downtown. So yeah, finding quality and adequate housing is also a challenging issue for newcomers who are almost 3 times more likely to be a core housing need than non-immigrants. Because, yes, because the immigrants got no home here. So when he comes in, the first thing to think about is to have his own home or have his own house. Recent immigration to Canada are also much more likely than non-immigrants to spend more than 30% of their income on housing and to live in a crowded household. Okay. So here we have also the healthcare. In Ontario, as example, we have the OHIP, Ontario Healthcare Insurance Plan, is another concern for newcomers. Lifestyle changes such as having fewer family support to raise children, which can lead to challenges around daycare, shift in weather, changes in eating and experience exercise habits, can negatively affect health and well-being of newcomers. They also pose challenging, such as accessing a regular medical doctors, looking for a medical insurance and coverage accessible, transportation or limited family financial resources to follow intervention prescribed in the healthcare providers, financial barriers to accessing healthcare, or even more pronounced for refugees. So these are also points like it's not easy to have a medical insurance and to be covered by insurance for some people's needs. The role of municipals or municipalities in welcoming and including the newcomers. Yes, they have rules, they have things they have to do to attract the newcomers. Okay, how I will attract a newcomers? The municipals play a big role here. They have to role a play in various areas, including what? Attracting and retaining immigrants, ensuring that the integration and social cohesion of newcomers, including refugees, seekers, and groups of immigrants, welcoming newcomers and familiarizing them with the society's culture, providing newcomers with an easy access to vital urban infrastructures and services like the transportation and the housing, ensuring close collaboration with law enforcement authorities and safety and security of both newcomers and the host community, establishing, this is all the role of the municipals, establishing cultural landscape and not only stand against racism and discrimination, but also addresses underlying systems of injustice and inequity while celebrating diversity. So this is the role of the municipals. The rules of the municipals for the newcomers or the new immigrants to Canada. So this is about the municipals, and this some points we came to know today. For regarding as example, the education, training, and employment, many cities in Canada have employment centers. These centers help the people to develop their skills and to just advise them what to do and how to qualify their own credentials. So that will be okay for the Canadian work requirements. It also lead them or direct them to where they can find the Canadian experience at work. It find for them some jobs to gain the Canadian experience. It find for them volunteer centers that will help them to get the Canadian experience as well. This is what I can say here regarding some points. We know from these points today that Toronto is the city with the largest population for the newcomers. It's almost like 29% of the newcomers come to Toronto, followed by Montreal. When you also today that one of the main points also is that we have the newcomers from many countries. They are ordered that Philippines comes in the first place, then India, then after that China, and so on. We knew that the newcomers are faced by things like challenging comes to it in the first place, the discrimination and some other aspects they have to be aware of, and they know how to deal with it. And by the way, the law protects against the discrimination in Canada here. All the laws and acts are not welcoming any discriminating behavior or harassment or bullying by any way. So these are the points which we want to talk about here, and shall leave you now, and thank you so much, and see you in the next video about the Canadian culture. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you.